hand, if you remove the fiber completely and your health actually improves, look around everybody. If you're new to this and you're like, that can't be healthy. Are all these people stupid? Are they crazy? They live with themselves. They know what happened back when they were eating fiber and then when they removed it. Now, should everybody remove all fiber? I don't know. There's this thing called a normal distribution curve in human physiology. And it looks like this. Okay? Some people would call that the bell curve in the past. Let's avoid that because it's a little triggering. Some people, it's a normal distribution curve. Every single facet of human physiology is on a normal distribution curve. Okay? So if we're talking, we can talk about any nutrient, we can talk about any body function, there's going to be a normal distribution curve in human beings. So fiber, okay. There's a small subset of people that if they touch fiber, their health is immediately going to suffer. It's going to be like a fast poison almost. Perhaps not deadly, they're going to have immediate negative feedback. In the big fat middle of the normal distribution curve, the majority of people, if they eat a little fiber, it's probably not a big deal. Their body can handle it. But if they eat too much, it's going to cause some symptoms. And then there's over here in this tail, not many people, but they can live on fiber, and it doesn't seem to bother them whatsoever for many, many years. So you can apply that concept to every single nutrient, every single blood test, every single thing about your physiology, your biochemistry, your health, and your life, and human beings fall on that curve. That's just biology. So nutrient hits. So if you're eating something for pleasure, just call it what it is. I'm eating this. This is shit. Now I know it is. But I'm going to eat it because I love it, and it's my birthday, and don't give me that look. But I want it to always be a conscious choice. Okay? Alcohol is another big one. Alcohol is not ancestrally appropriate. Zero, none. Alcohol is poison. There's ample evidence. There is no argument. You cannot argue that. When you know the metabolic pathway of what happens to alcohol, you're like, yeah, it's poison. Sure, yeah. So you want to minimize all fast-acting and slow-acting poisons. Alcohol is one of them. I love an occasional bourbon, but I don't trick myself into thinking it's heart healthy. Okay? And you shouldn't do that either. You shouldn't fall for that kind of bullshit, because that's exactly what it is. That red wine with dinner that we learned a few years back, remember that? Why they stopped talking about that? It's very popular for a minute. I wonder if that same thing will happen to fiber as the years go by. Maybe. A proper human diet is ancestrally appropriate, which means that your grandmother ate that. She would, if you went back in time with a ribeye and some eggs, and even some broccoli, even though broccoli didn't exist, we know that, right? Yeah. She'd be like, yeah, okay, that's fine, we'll eat that. But if you took back anything made by Kraft Heinz or Mondelez, she'd be suspicious of it, right? And she would eat a little bite of that, and then she would wait. Or if she was the leader of the clan, she'd be like, hey, Bubba, come here. Here, eat some of that. Don't make me whoop your ass. And then she would watch Bubba for a day or two. That's how we learned of all the thousands of plants. You can eat these, but don't touch these. You can eat these, but you must cook them. You must roast them. You must soak them. You must cook them, pour off the water, cook them again. Then you can eat them. Now, how many people's grandmother or great-grandmother, when you go over to her house, there would always be vegetables, but they would literally be green mush. She didn't do that because she was a bad cook. She did that because she was taught, you don't eat raw vegetables. You cook them. And if you don't want to have any symptoms, you cook them to death. And that's what she did, because that's how she was taught. Your grandmother soaked beans for days and cooked them at least for one full day before she would feed them to her family. That's how she was taught. That kind of knowledge is gone now. You see vegans eating raw beans, and they wonder why their teeth are falling out. They wonder why their gut is turning literally inside out. A proper human diet, by definition, is uninflammatory. That's why your grandmother would test that with Bubba, or she would cook that shit for days before she ever put it in her mouth, because you don't want to cause inflammation in your body. Inflammation from an improper diet can show up in your skin, in your joints, definitely in your gut, but also in your brain function. And my good friend Chris Palmer just released a book called Brain Energy. He's read that book. When I say read, I also mean listen to for my ADHD friends, right? But if you have anybody with brain trauma, with mental health issues, you need to read it or buy them a copy. So you don't want to inflame any part of your body. That's not good, to inflame it with your diet. And there are even plant-based people now who are trying to talk about the hormesis, the hormetic effect of the sulforaphane in broccoli. It's like, you understand, you're saying that it causes inflammation. That's what you're saying. And hormetic stress in some situations, working out hard, running hard, having sex hard, cold plunges, getting out in the cold, getting out in the hot, sweating profusely. Those things are hormetic and they're good for you. But I would opine that you don't need to be eating things that cause gut inflammation. That's a bad point. Do you know how many generations it takes to change your family tradition? Because so many of us come from a family where the plate was full of veggies. And when I buy veggies, I mean potatoes and beans, right? And cornbread, that's a veggie. Bread, that's a veggie. And then dessert was really not optional. Because in the South where I grew up, Granny Berry expected me to clean my plate and maybe clean a second plate and then have dessert. Because that was kind of a sign that you were a big boy, you were a man, right? And so when we would go to a buffet or a picnic, it was called a plate bender. Because you would put so much food on your plate, you'd have to get 2 plates or your plate would bend, right? That was considered kind of a mark of manhood, that you ate that much food. And if it had been proper human diet food, that wouldn't be a big deal. You could eat your stuff. But I know a lot of you guys have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and you want to change your family heritage. Maybe you have, you're from a certain ethnic background, that carbohydrates, that basically food in that language means carbohydrates. You can change that. That is not, it feels to you because you are the grandchild of a grandmother who cooked that way. That feels set in stone in your heart, but what can I do? Or you're in a mended family or a broken family, and you're like, how can I reach across the aisle, so to speak? Because I've got kids and grandkids and great-grandkids in that situation, and maybe the head of that household doesn't really give a damn about my opinion. If you're in that situation, you don't have to raise your hand. And I know it exists. But what I would advise you to do is every opportunity you can, you feed your family a proper human diet. Because every time you do that, every meal, you're changing your family tradition. You're creating a new family tradition. And you never know when a child or a niece or nephew will be really impressed and really go, and then they'll carry on your legacy. And then what you've actually done in your family is you've created a new tradition. And as we all know, our family traditions, they're hard to break, aren't they? But they are breakable. It takes 2 generations to create a new family tradition. And so if you're stuck in that, don't make you cowards. You're not. Because you're going to start to create a new family tradition for your offspring, for your progeny, for the people that you love most in this world. You have the power to do that. And you can do it blatantly by cooking a dish and taking it, by saying, yeah, I don't eat that. It causes me to have good inflammation, because there's probably somebody else at the table who will say, it does that to me too. And then you say, well, maybe that means we just shouldn't eat that shit. I don't know. Maybe we should stop eating. And I know Grandma's going to say something, but maybe we should not eat that. Some of you guys in certain family situations are going to have to use ninja-level tactics. Right? You may cook something and not tell anybody this is proper human diet. You may just take it and it's delicious and they eat it all. You just changed your family tradition when you did that. Right? Because they're not going to remember what you preach about. They're going to remember what you all sat down and ate together. That is human nature. That is, you cannot fight that. When you grow up in a family and you're eating this certain food, it becomes part of your heart. You can make a proper human diet part of the heart of future generations. That food can make them feel like home. Real human food can make them feel love. And I would opine it can make them feel love more strongly than the ultimate plant toxin, which is sugar and starch. There are many plant toxins, but that's the ultimate one for the vast majority of them. How powerful would that be if you could change your family's trajectory? Because all of us are like, no, being big bone runs in my family. Type 2 diabetes runs in my family, hypertension, we all got it. What if it's just the food tradition that's causing it? What if you could literally say, yeah, no, obesity doesn't run in our family. What ran in our family was a shitty diet. But we're slowly fixing that for the entire family. You guys all have the power to do it. A proper human diet is not scalable. And that's a big deal because all the billion-dollar corporations, they want a product that they can basically get the ingredients for free. Grains, sugar, vegetable seed oil. Those are the most subsidized food-like products on the planet. They can make anything from a pizza crust, to a bagel, to a jelly donut, to a cake, literally anything. Call it anything, put anything on the front of the package, put it in a plastic wrapper, put it on the shelf, and it'll sit there for 2 years. So they got 2 years to make that 1,000% markup that it cost them to make it. You can't do that with proper human diet food. Much to the chagrin and consternation of our friends on the other side of the bleachers here, who are trying to convince you that their product is necessary. Okay? And the organizers of this event may not appreciate this, but I don't really give a damn. 90% of the shit on the other side of these bleachers is complete utter bullshit. If you need red light therapy, guess where the best red light therapy in the universe? Oh wait, the sun has full spectrum infrared, but there's no monthly fee with that. How? Gotcha. Cold therapy. I think that's probably advantageous to us. Do you know how you can get that? There's 50 ways you can get that for free, right? Now, sauna's a big deal, right? You know what a redneck sauna is? You get your shorts, you get your flip-flops. I don't actually own any. They should shoot me if I brought over barefoot. And you go out and get in your black truck in the middle of summer. You sit in there for about 3 minutes. And I can do that for free every day. Okay? Is snacking a part of a proper human diet? Absolutely not. We are designed to eat discrete meals when we find appropriate food, and then we're to go about our business. We're basically to go outside and play, or fight, or gossip. That's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do. Eat till you're full, go play. Just like your grandmother may have told you. Don't come back in this house until dark or dinner, right? She wasn't doing that to be mean. She wasn't doing that because she hated you. She was doing that because she could hear the echo of the past telling her, That's how you raise good, healthy humans. Get your ass out of here. Don't let me catch you in this kitchen. Right? But now we feel like if a kid's going to play soccer for 30 minutes, they need some little fruit bars and some little, they may just die for 30 minutes of running around kicking the ball. They may just drop dead at any minute. We better, right? Well, guess what? Big food loves it when you believe that stupid shit. And our friends on the other side of the bleachers, they love it when you believe that kind of stuff, because that makes a space for the product. Makes a space in your life. Makes a space in your wallet. That might be just what they're looking at. It's some dedicated money from your wallet every week, every day, every month. Maybe that's what they're looking for. And I think many of the things on the other side of the bleachers are less bad than what you're going to get from the center of the grocery store. I think it's less bad. Yes, totally agree. But does that make it good? Or does that just make it less bad? Just think about it. I'm not trying to persuade you to do or not do anything. I just want you to think. We have to think in our modern society. Your grandmother didn't have to think. It was just either it was there and she ate it, or it wasn't there and she fasted. That was easy, but probably hard also, right? But we don't have that luxury because we currently have too much luxury. It's always autumn. There's always